Why is everyone quitting the carnivore diet? Well, first of all, it's not everyone, but there are some people quitting the carnivore diet. I'm going to go and review this guy's video on why all these top known gurus are quitting the carnivore diet. Let's review his work and get into it right now. Welcome everyone to my crazy life where I decide to do a video too late, but that's the only time I have because I have 9 horses and donkeys and 2 dogs, and I'm building a house and taking care of my mom and trying to do research and running a course page, but I digress. Somebody sent me this video of this guy, just his idea of why he thinks that everyone is quitting the carnivore diet or specific gurus. I watched it and I was like, what the frack is this guy talking about? Like, he's a young guy, got nothing against him personality wise, but the information that he is putting out there to me is absolutely circular logic and makes no sense at all. But that video has got almost 100,000 views in a few days. So they are watching his videos, people are within mine. Although it's very well edited and put together, it's the information. It is the information in that video. So let's take a look. And I'm only reviewing half of it because it takes too long. There are so many details that I'm stopping and starting and stopping and starting. But let's go into his analysis of the top gurus, or some of them, like Paul Saladino and Lily, was it Lily Page? I think, I can't remember her last name. It just went out of my head. It went boof. Kane Page. Kane. Those are the 2 ones that you might recognize, and the other 2 I don't know, but let's take a look right now.
Eating a carnivore diet led to full resolution of my autoimmune condition, eczema, itchy rashes, and asthma that I'd had for my whole life. But after a year and a half, I quit the carnivore diet.
Hello, Corey here. In this video, I want to explain to you why I am no longer carnivore.
I quit the carnivore diet.
I didn't have the energy. I didn't have my libido. My stress shield was kind of disappearing.
I just can't do it anymore for several reasons. Number one, just some practical stuff, but also some more serious reasons that could impact my health.
My blood work showed that my ferritin levels were elevated and my copper was a little bit on the lower end. And my thyroid, while my thyroid numbers were still in range, my thyroid still wasn't as optimal as it could be.
I did straight carnivore for the first few days, but it was, it's hard.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I think that the carnivore diet is like a cult.
In recent times, even some of the most...
It is like a cult. So there he's got Lily Kane, Paul Saladino, Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan just had a little couple lines in this whole thing, and this bodybuilder looks like an AI-driven image, but I digress. The Asian cat at the very end. Now, I'm going to go more into his video and Lily Kane going through her reasoning for going to fruit, which is a complete clusterfuck at the time that she created that video that he is analyzing. And while Paul Saladino did carnivore for a year and a half and was already on the doctor's TV program and put out a book, which shows you, but the one thing I love about Paul is that he is being transparent on all the things that went wrong with doing the carnivore diet, which is why he added fruit and he feels better because the electrolyte issue and his thyroid tanking. But I'm pretty sure that fruit also is not remedying some of these issues. But that's my assumption. And then you've got this guy who's lovely, just placed himself in the middle of these gurus. So let's go more into it.
Well-known carnivore influencers have quit the carnivore diet. So in this video, we're going to look at what's really going on and answer the question, why is everyone quitting the carnivore diet? Let's get into it.
First of all, not everybody's quitting the carnivore diet. So I get it. He's clickbait. I clickbait. YouTube will not share your stuff unless you're clickbaiting. But let's listen to Paul.
About a year to a year and a half of a carnivore diet, I began to notice issues, probably in my case, arising due to electrolyte insufficiency. This led to muscle cramps. I had problems with sleep. I had heart palpitations, fluttering of my heart. I had something called hypnagogic jerks, where I would fall asleep but jerk myself awake. I had declining lab values that were important to me, specifically lower total testosterone, higher sex hormone binding globulin, which leads to a lower free testosterone. And I had the sense that I was cold, or a little bit cold, all the time. And when I looked at my labs, my thyroid levels, specifically my total T3 and free T3, were not ideal.
Paul blames these issues on the carnivore diet, but I believe they weren't caused by the diet itself. Instead, they were caused by 3 other factors. Firstly, Paul...
Okay, nonsense. Okay. He blurred them out because I'm going to go more into it. He talked about Paul under eating. He doesn't I assume that he does not know Paul. And he speaks so factual, like he's under eating, his insulin is too low, he can't hold on to his electrolytes. And I'm going to go more into the description that your electrolytes tank because of the problem that carbs, if you're coming from the carb world, carbohydrates, a carbon molecule bound to water, and water stays within the cell a lot more easily when you're eating carbohydrates. But when you cut out the carbs, you just start peeing a lot. You might lose the ability to produce the hormone ADH, which is antidiuretic hormone, and your electrolytes go to shite because you're not balancing your minerals and drinking enough water. Is that what happened with Paul? Well, he said that his electrolytes became imbalanced. He doesn't go incredibly into detail, but this guy thinks he's got the answer just by saying that he's under eating and that insulin, he's so insulin sensitive, his insulin's too low. Oh,
Paul is a very lean guy. I mean, you can simply look at the bloke. He's got abs, his veins are popping.
Okay, first of all, his veins are not popping out. He's got a classic bicep vein. Vascularity will be like veins everywhere. So Paul looks at a very healthy body fat percentage and not super vascular.
Out, Paul clearly has a very low body fat percentage. And on top of that, he surfs for hours every day. He lifts, he walks.
He surfs for hours every day. Are you sure about that? Have you talked to Paul? Because I'm pretty sure that nobody surfs every single day. Because Paul, I believe, moved to Austin, very, very far. And this video this guy just produced, Paul doesn't live near the ocean anymore. And his body fat percentage, as you can see right there in that image, is not super paper thin lean.
A lot. When you're that lean, you don't have much body fat to pull energy from. People who carry more fat can get away with eating less because they've got plenty of stored fuel.
Okay, this is nonsense. People who are overweight who eat less cannot get away with it because they are already metabolically inflexible. They're deranged. Their immune system is fracked up. Their thyroid is jacked up. Not everyone, but most. Their blood sugar is dysregulated. They've got diabetes or insulin resistance. When you don't eat, your blood sugar goes bazonkers. Your thyroid goes bazonkers. Your adrenal stress and cortisol goes through the roof. It's called gluconeogenesis. What is he talking about? So Paul's so lean he can't go. Well, I'm lean, right? And I ride the line of carnivore. What are you talking about, bro? I'm just saying.
But Paul, he doesn't have that buffer. So if you're training as much and as hard as Paul does, and you're not eating enough, especially not...
The thing that he's assuming that Paul doesn't eat enough is absolutely ridiculous. It's absurd.
Eating enough fat, your body doesn't have much to run on. And that's when...
So how much fat? You're not eating enough fat. Well, how much fat would for your body to run on? You mean ketosis? You're not mentioning these scientific things? Okay.
You're going to start feeling terrible and experiencing many of these symptoms that Paul talks about. This also explains why he felt very cold. Heating your body up...
No. He felt cold because his T3 either was not converting T4 into T3 or he didn't have enough T3 uptake. Not because he was lean. Leanness does not equate coldness. Lord have mercy. This is garbage. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude to the guy. He didn't listen to what Paul said. He said that his thyroid numbers were low. It has nothing to do with his lean body mass. And I'm going to repeat this. Paul Saladino's cold body had nothing to do with his lean body mass. I have a lean body mass and don't have a thyroid problem. Him running cold is from the inability to either make or convert T4 into T3 or to get T3 into the cells. His lean mass, I don't know where the guy's getting this
total energy. So this was Paul's first issue. He was super lean and he was under eating. Another major issue Paul ran into.
Paul is not super lean. He's lean, but super lean would be sub 9% body fat, which Paul looks like he's around 9 or 10. He's assuming that he's exercising and not eating enough. These are assumptions.
Simply came down to insufficient insulin. When you eat carbs, your blood sugar spikes,
Nonsense.
and a hormone called insulin elevates to bring that blood sugar back down. But insulin does more than just regulate blood sugar. It also helps your kidneys hold on to electrolytes like sodium and potassium. On
Yes, it does. That is true, but that's not the case for Paul.
carnivore, because you're not consuming many carbohydrates, obviously the main driver of insulin isn't carbs. Instead, it's protein. When you eat a meal with protein, some of that protein...
The main driver of insulin is protein? In what context? No, if I eat a bowl of Skittles, and I have steak, the main driver of my insulin spiking is going to be from the Skittles.
is converted to glucose, which is sugar. That small rise in blood sugar right there is enough to trigger an insulin response. And that insulin is what helps you retain electrolytes. But
yeah, so if you're doing a carnivore diet, maybe that's what he did not mention. Protein will incite a glucose and then an insulin response. And it depends on the person. If you eat too much protein, that meat, that steak can act like a candy bar easily.
Here's the problem. If you're not eating enough protein, or you are eating enough protein, but you're eating it in lots of small little meals spread out across the day, instead of having bigger, larger ones, your insulin may never rise enough to do this job of holding on to electrolytes.
No. This is garbage. Okay, number one, people who've got insulin resistance, which most people do, are always having an insulin response. The insulin response is always within the first hour, always. Okay, you're always going to see a spike of insulin. Some people who have quasi-insulin resistance, their insulin signaling between the release of insulin or bolus amounts of insulin and getting glucose into the cells, it's not working. That connection of insulin doing its job and getting the glucose into the GLUT4 receptors of your muscles, and then you flex and then you burn it off as energy, is not happening with people. So what happens, they have this incredibly high amount of blood sugar, and then the body begins to secrete bolus amounts of insulin, which then makes their insulin resistant. Okay, so he's thinking that people are having like an insulin of 1. That's not what that is not what's happening with people on a carnivore diet. They're actually having the inverse. They're having physiological insulin resistance rebound, and that protein is turning into candy bar within their blood.
Without that signal, your kidneys may not retain electrolytes properly. That's when you start getting the exact symptoms that Paul described: cramps, heart palpitations, poor recovery.
People are having electrolyte issues because carbohydrates, carbon molecule bound to water. And when you don't eat carbs, you don't have anything that carbon molecule bound to water to get into the cells. So you just start peeing all the time. Because I've done this for 18 years. 18 years of no carbs means you are peeing all day long, all the time. That's coming from not theoretical, but first-hand experience. It's not like after a couple of years, your kidneys get used to the lack of carbohydrates and then you stop peeing. No, you're peeing all the time. If you're peeing extra, you could be low in ADH, but basically your body is losing minerals. Minerals like sodium, potassium, magnesium help keep fluid within the cells. That's the reason why people are dehydrated.
And bad sleep. When you watch one of Paul's full day of eating videos, what you see is him having lots of meals spread out across the day, and none of these meals are particularly large. So this right here is another...
What are you talking about? I had 2 like 5-ounce steaks there. That's large enough. Or ground beef.
A contributing factor in regards to Paul's issues. He wasn't eating enough protein in proper meals to trigger enough insulin and therefore keep his electrolytes.
Garbage. These are all assumptions. He's not eating enough protein to make enough insulin, which then he has an imbalance of electrolytes. What are you talking about? Too lean, under eating. I'm surprised Paul's not going after him. Okay, that plate was not under eating whatsoever. Like he had I mean, the guy looked between in one meal. Okay, well, I didn't see enough fat on the plate, but in one meal I saw between 8 and 10 ounces of meat. Those are big burgers. What are you talking about? That's enough fuel. He just needs fat on the plate more. Not enough protein. He had protein. His electrolyte imbalances did not come from not enough insulin. His imbalances came from peeing all the time and losing his fluids plus the minerals. Oh my goodness, my mom's dog. Always looking for food.
Balanced. The final problem with Paul's version of carnivore was that he was incorporating a lot of organ meats, in particular liver. Paul owns a supplement company that sells organ supplements, including liver. On top of that, he was also regularly eating raw liver and other organs in their natural form. Now, liver is incredibly nutrient dense. It's the most nutrient dense food on the planet. But here's the thing, liver is actually too high in certain nutrients. For example, copper, as
got that from Chris Kresser's friggin' okay.
well as vitamin A.
Okay, so liver has copper and zinc. Now you're assuming that his copper levels were too high. Okay, so there you see calcium, chromium, copper, iron, magnesium, manganese, molybdenum, phosphorus, potassium, selenium, and zinc. He was not being overloaded with copper. No, that was Lily Kane said that she had too much copper. He's eating liver. Most people don't eat organ meats because they don't like the taste. So, no, he's not getting too much retinol because I know that's what he's going to say next.
With vitamin A, unlike many other nutrients, which you just flush out if you consume too much of, vitamin A is actually fat soluble, which means it gets stored in your liver and then builds up over time.
No, it doesn't. It does not get stuck in your liver and build up over time. There are cultures around the world that are constantly eating goat liver and lamb liver and pork liver. Constantly. Right? Because all of the nutrients. So it already says it's the most nutrient dense food on the planet, but people are having vitamin A toxicity. Where are they? Where are those videos of people saying, I had low vitamin A toxicity? Oh, that was Frank Tufano. He didn't have vitamin A toxicity. He had iron overload, which when your body's not absorbing iron, that's when you have iron overload. And I believe he was doing some other exogenous things that led to his hemochromatosis. But what videos are you seeing with people having vitamin A toxicity? Because I've been eating liver every day for 8 years? Where's my vitamin A overload toxicity? Okay, I don't know where he's getting this from.
When vitamin A levels get too high, it can start affecting your liver and kidneys' ability to keep electrolytes balanced. All of Paul's symptoms to do with electrolyte issues are also classic symptoms of vitamin A toxicity. So this right here was Paul's third issue. He was eating too much liver, which potentially...
This is Paul's third issue. He doesn't even say it's in my opinion or perhaps this is what happened. He's actually stating it as if it's facts. Too lean, under eating, not enough fuel. Not enough protein, low insulin, electrolyte imbalances. All this stuff is wrong. Too much liver. He doesn't know how much liver he's eating. Vitamin A toxicity. So he's assuming that Paul had vitamin A toxicity. Do you guys see? And there's like this video has like 100,000 views. I mean, make it make sense. And then you guys are going to believe this.
Led to vitamin A toxicity. When you look at it all together, Paul's issues weren't caused by the carnivore diet itself. The electrolyte issues, low testosterone, the suppressed thyroid issues, being cold, all of these things could have been resolved if Paul did these three things. If Paul would have just eaten more food overall, as well as larger meals and cups.
What are you talking about? So he would eat more food and then have an iron overload like Frank Tufano? What about high B12? Okay, but didn't Lily say that her copper levels were too high? I mean, if that's what you're believing. Bigger protein meal. So protein's going to make his insulin resistant. It spikes your blood sugar. Anyone measuring their blood sugar, eating a bunch of protein will have a major spike, like as if you ate carbs. And he said to cut back on liver. You can't make this stuff up in a secondhand handbag.
Back on the liver, he would have avoided all of the issues he talked about, but instead he just quit and blamed the carnivore diet.
This is the number one factor why I stopped doing the carnivore diet. I simply couldn't eat enough fats and proteins to get myself out of that chronically dieted state where I was
He couldn't eat enough fats and protein because he's got digestive issues, which a lot of these bodybuilder people have because they're eating chicken breast and lean meats, and then develop gallbladder issues because the gallbladder is an organ that you need. So if you don't use it, you lose it. It breaks down fat. So if you're not eating fat, then it starts to become sludgy. But he doesn't even talk about this. He calls it fat adapted, I believe.
up 6% body fat for multiple years. Now this is individual, but eating
bullshit. Nobody is under 6% body fat consistently for a couple of years because your immune system would literally fall apart and crumble down to the ground. For people who don't know body fat percentage, under 6 is competitive. Like, I'm on stage with diuretics, lean and paper thin and vascular for a couple of years. Even this guy is not telling you the whole story. So you've got him not telling you the whole story, and then you've got this guy reviewing him not telling you the whole story, and then people are watching this stuff.
so much protein was too satiating for me, and adding in more fats into my diet.
Too much protein. It's salmon and like some sausage. And now he's using shrimp and ground beef. Where's the fat? Oh, that's right. Your gallbladder's not working.
It would have caused digestive issues, especially if it was in the form of rendered fats like tallow or anything of that sort.
This right here is one of the most interesting examples of someone quitting the carnivore diet. Because, I mean, in a way, he quit because carnivore was too successful. Not being able to eat enough food to get above 6.
Okay, so that is under 6% body fat, right? But he's actually really flexed. But I'd say he's definitely or hovering around the 5 to 6. Okay, and these carnivore people love to put big plates of food. He didn't eat all that food, by the way. Oh, good Lord. Okay.
% body fat, which is basically a stage-ready professional bodybuilder, is a very rare problem to have. Most people are struggling to lose fat, not to put it back on. But, I mean, in all seriousness.
Okay, I'm assuming that this guy was not eating enough protein because eating enough food or fat because he had a gallbladder issue and potentially issues with enough protease production, which is an enzyme to break down protein, and maybe potentially low stomach acid. So it's under eating. Okay, let's listen to this guy here.
Seriousness. The issue of losing too much weight can be a real problem for some people on carnivore. The reason for this is because carnivore is
people don't just lose weight on carnivore. I don't know where you got that from. This guy wasn't eating enough food. It wasn't carnivore.
Extremely satiating. When all you're eating is meat and animal products, your appetite stays very low. Now, there are many reasons for this. One is because protein and fat trigger many of your strong satiety hormones. Another reason is because animal products are extremely nutrient dense, meaning your body gets what it needs very fast and doesn't keep you to push eating more.
This is nonsense. Well, no, okay, I'll take this back. I mean, meat takes a lot to break down. You need enough stomach acid, protease, lipase, pancreatic lipase. These are the biggest reasons why you need enough caloric acid to break it down. It's not just that it's nutrient dense. Fatty meats require a lot of stuff to break down, digestive equipment.
In search of these missing nutrients. You also avoid carbohydrates, which mess with your blood sugar levels and hunger hormones. As a result of all of these reasons, some people find that on carnivore they get full very fast. Like Paul's example, when you're too lean and not eating enough, you can run into issues with energy, sleep, electrolytes, and even your hormones. In that video,
so make it make sense. He's not eating enough. It's not that he's not eating enough. He's not eating enough because he has issues digesting the meat.
Tristan said he couldn't physically eat more. But usually there are a couple of ways around this. For one, perhaps the easiest thing to do is to increase your consumption of dairy. Dairy is much more...
No. Most people have a freaking allergy and sensitivity to dairy because of a leaking gut. Cheese is loaded in casein, which is often a cross-reactivity response to people having a destroyed gut wall, which most people do. And I'm sure none of that is grass-fed, raw dairy. This looks like a screenshot from some image online. So it's very misleading. Don't eat a bunch of dairy. Most people eat dairy and the skin will break out. People eat dairy and the gallbladder freaks out. People eat dairy and their histamine will explode. There's only a few amount of people that can eat dairy successfully without any issues.
Than animal products like meat. So adding things in like cream, cheese, or even yogurt can make it so much easier to get more food in and as a whole increase your overall energy intake. Another option is to mix up the types of animal food you're eating. Some people find they can eat much more when it's from, say, fatty fish, while others find they can eat more when it's high-fat ground beef. By rotating different...
Because fish does not have as much monopoly and it's not, it has omega-3s. It's got some short chain fatty acids in it, whereas butter and tallow have LCTs, long chain fatty acids. You need a gallbladder to break it down. All right, guys, this is part 1 because it's getting too late. I'm going to continue reviewing this guy in this video. No shade, no shade. I just really want to show you how easy it is for people to become confused by the tomfoolery of people not understanding. Paul created a book and he coached and was on TV shows pushing the carnivore diet and had to go and get off and start eating fruit, which of course I don't agree with eating fruit because it doesn't store glycogen and can still put your thyroid in danger. And it's super, like, if you've got candida, it'll explode. But I digress. And histamine will explode on fruit. I'm going to do part 2 because the guy's got, it's like another half of reviewing his video. And it's no shade to him. It just shows you that you can take this guy who has not established a name yet in this low carb sphere, or you could take someone like Paul Saladino who has, and both are giving you information that's confusing because they went too fast into promoting a diet they didn't know enough about because they're just watching everybody else. You got to work with people and several people to come up with your own field study. All right, let's wait for part 2 to come tomorrow because I'm going to edit this. Thank you, everyone, for watching part 1 of why everyone is quitting the carnivore diet, which, of course, not everybody is quitting the carnivore diet, but I hope this gives you some insight on to be careful when people are making blanket statements without any detail or any facts. Yeah, let's wait for part 2. Comment below, share this content. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. I do run a course and I do coach this stuff because I've worked with over 10,000 people. So I'd say I'd have a strong grip of what's going on and actual solutions for the individual. And I'm out. Energy.